Guys, I'm here at the range today to go over this new killer combo with the HHA Rise X3 and the Dark Owl archery scope. This combination is available on the website along with HHA sight bars and the mounts, but we're going to dive into this sight bar and really take a look at why this is probably my go-to setup for 2024. Okay guys, so this is the backside of the Max RYZ X3. So as you'll notice, HHA has 3 pin indicators on this guy now, and they're all fully adjustable independently. So that's a great feature. You can really set it up for your 20, 30, 40, and you know, you'll be able to indicate where every single pin is at any given yardage. So that's a great feature that they added onto there. This is the Max version, so this wheel can actually come off. There's one single unscrew that you loosen that up, pull this guy off, put a different wheel on. If you know, changing elk setup to a whitetail setup or a target setup to a hunting setup, you can do that just by pulling this wheel off, popping that guy back on. So HHA's patented third axis adjust is probably one of the best in my opinion. It's super simple to use and it doesn't move. That's a really good setup that they have here. You can really lock that guy down and it's not going to move on you. In the front here, you have your second axis adjust, and then you have your infinite rail. So basically you can loosen this guy up and you can adjust it up and down to where you want your 0 to be set. So if you turn that all the way up, it's basically kind of like a dead stop. So that's a really good feature. I like how they have that set up. I really like maxing that out up on top. So coming to the front here, you have your macro adjust and your micro adjust all in this bar. You simply loosen this guy up. You can push it over. That's macro adjust. Pull it in. You can micro adjust it from there, and then you can simply lock it down. So that's a really good feature. I think this HHA Rise X3 pairs very well with this scope. The combination just seems like a super solid setup, and I'm really digging how they made these small changes, but they're still significant enough to really change what the sight is. Now we're going to go over how we are going to pick out what pin we're going to need for this new HHA setup that you're doing. So since you're buying this combination off the website and you don't have the sight bar or you don't have the scope, you don't know what pin that you need. But there's a simple solution to that. And if you haven't watched my new bow setup or pin selection, go ahead and watch that video before you watch this. That way you can understand what I'm talking about here. But you're going to need 3 measurements, and that's going to be your peep height, which is going to be the center of your arrow to the center of your peep sight, your foot per second to the nearest 5 foot per second, not your IBO speed, but your actual arrow speed coming out of the bow, and then you're going to need your sight radius. So typically your sight radius is the center of the scope barrel to your eyeball at full draw, but you can't take that measurement if you don't have the sight bar. So this is how you would do that for this new HHA, or if you're doing any sight bar for that matter, you're going to just need to take this extra step to do this, which it's really not that difficult to do. So those 3 measurements that I talked about prior, that's something that you want to do with a spouse or with a buddy. That way you can get the most accurate measurement at full draw. So like I said, typically your sight radius, this is the big one for doing this new setup, is from your eyeball to the center of this barrel. Change that for this matter to the actual mounting point on the bow. And then I have a couple of measurements that are listed on the website that you're going to add to that distance of your eyeball to the mounting point. Now, if you're using the Hoyt Picatinny mount, it's going to be the front face of the mount itself, not where it attaches to the bow, but the actual front face of that. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a measurement from the center to center, and it's right at 7 inches. Now, all I would do is add that to whatever that distance is. Let's say it's 25, add 7 inches, 32. That's going to be what you use as your sight radius. Like I said, those numbers will be listed on the website for the HHAs, but you can do that with any sight bar. So let's say I have this guy set up and I decide I wanted to switch to a different sight bar. As long as I keep the distance the same from where the scope is to where it's mounting, I'm not going to need to change my pins at all. But you could also do the same exact measurement if you want to, you know, use a landslide or use a CBE Trek Pro or something like that. You can just simply add your measurement and then set your sight to that when you get it. I just put this on today. I'm going to get this set up. This Rise Max is freaking awesome, and I'm really excited to shoot it. I'm going to get it just sighted in for 20, 30, 40. And that's another thing we'll talk about. When you're sighting these scopes in, a trick is to sight up 20, sight in your 20, then with your bottom pin, go shoot 40. Now, if your 40 is high or low, adjust your sight so it's perfectly dead on. And what that's going to do is you're going to have a 0 that is further out, so it's going to be more accurate. That way, when you come back to 20 and you shoot with that middle pin, if you're off, it may be quite a bit smaller than if you set up your 20 as your 0, quote unquote. So best thing to do, like I said, go sight in 20, just make sure that's on, go sight in 40, and then adjust so your 40 is dead on, and then go back and shoot those other ones, and you'll probably notice that if you were off before, it's quite a bit smaller, if any, now. So that's just a quick tip for sighting these in. So we're going to do that quick. I already have a sight tape set up with precision cut archery, so I really don't have to do anything but set up my 20, 30, 40, make sure that's on, and then since I can take this exact sight tape, the distance is the same, I can print off a new one, slap that guy on, and I should be good to go.